emuna, why we need to live with emuna. What is emuna all about? Why? How do I get myself to even connect to the whole concept of emuna? So hopefully, B'ezrat Hashem, we'll start off with some basic concepts, sort of refresh our memory, what emuna is all about, and then B'ezrat Hashem, towards the middle and the end of the shir, hopefully we'll be able to talk about the Geulah and why we need emuna and what will emuna contribute in terms of our personal experience and how it will be able to aid the klal, and put it into fifth gear, as they say, to get us moving along. Be'ezrat Hashem barachamim. Emuna is this wonderful, innate gift. This gift that Hashem gave to every Jewish soul as she was standing there at Har Sinai. We received this beautiful crown that sits right over here on top of our heads till today. This crown of glory, the Keter, is called emuna. And it captures the divine essence. And every time we go beyond and above our nature, and we want to extend ourselves beyond this world, where we're required to go beyond our logic, where we're asked to extend ourselves in terms of that animalistic drive to want to respond in a certain animalistic, impulsive way, we go ahead and we lift ourselves up, we touch the divinity, we touch the infinite, we bring down that keter, and we put it on our heads. And that's the essence of emuna. That's how it's seen in the spiritual realms. It's like taking the crown that's right here hovering over our heads and putting it in its proper place on our heads. It's a gift that when we put that keter on our heads, it gives us a higher spiritual sensitivity. We're gifted a higher sense of the that we have now in direct alignment to be able to understand and accept Hashem's messages. But how do we get there? First things first. First thing, we have to be willing to extend ourselves. That's the first step. When I go through a difficulty in my life, when we experience hardship in our lives, we need to be able to say, wait a minute, there's something else going on over here. There's something more happening than what meets the eye. And when I bring that consciousness, when I make that conscious choice to know that there's a bigger picture, that there's a master designer, that there's something greater happening here, I'm essentially taking that keter and I'm placing it on my head. And I'm enabling that connection. This is where heaven meets earth, right here. I'm connecting, I'm going beyond myself. I'm enabling myself to touch infinity. I'm going beyond my finite being, and I'm attaching myself to infinity. And that is what gives us koach, to be able to endure anything that we're going through. All the challenges in life, Hashem says, just lift yourself up and try to extend yourself beyond your means. Go beyond that which you think you're capable of doing, and know that you can achieve godliness. And that essentially is the way to connect to emuna. What is this emuna feeling? Well, it's certainly not a naive belief in the blind capturing of just any haphazard explanation that comes my way. Emuna is attached to Emet, to the Torah HaKadoshah. And so when I attach myself to Emet, when I reach beyond my eyesight and I delve into that personal letter that Hashem wrote for every single one of us called the Torah, because the Torah essentially are 613 pieces of advice on how to have a great relationship with Hashem and how to make it through life. And so when I delve into the Torah, I suddenly see there so many things that I may not even have known existed in this world, because I'm touching infinity. So Hashem says, I don't want you just to believe when you run out of logical explanations. I don't want you to just not holding on to anything substantial, just believe in whatever, just to get yourself through it. I want you to go back into the Torah. And I want you to take your strength from the Torah. I want you to believe in that which I left for you to delve into anytime you run into a difficulty. I want you to remember, Banim atem laHashem Elokechem. I want you to remember that I love you. I want you to remember that you are my children. I want you to remember, Imo Anochi B'tzara, and I will never leave you. And it doesn't matter what anyone says, and it doesn't matter what comes out of the media, and how poor and humiliated and left behind we appear as a nation, individually. You are not alone. I am with you. And if you extend yourself beyond your limit and stop looking at only finite and what's in front of you, you will find me. You will attach yourself to me. And so as we get closer to the Geulah, we're seeing more and more signs of being crushed and being crunched, and things coming out of the woodworks, and suddenly there's a rise of anti-Semitism, suddenly there's a sense of humiliation, of abandonment, of the UN not recognizing our right to exist again. We're back to square one. We're back to 1948. We're back to the days before, God forbid, the Holocaust. We're back there again. And it may not be jumping at us in such a strong way, but we're there. We're there. Just before we enter the promised land, we have to go through this sort of downfall. Hashem says, I have to get you to go down. I have to make you realize that there is no one else to rely on but me. And the greater the darkness we go through, the greater the light we're going to experience. We're going to laugh. We're going to laugh hysterically, because it's going to seem so far out of reach. But Hashem says, just like you went above yourself at those moments when you were at home with your husband and he was annoying you, and then 2 seconds later, as if nothing happened, honey, can you bring me a cup of tea? And you think to yourself, a cup of tea? Do you know what you just said to me? Do you know how you just hurt my feelings? And you want me to just forget about it and get you a cup of tea with a smile? Yes, I will. I will. I'm going to extend beyond myself. I'm going to reach down for that godliness. I'm going to put on that royal garb called the Keter. And yes, I'm going to serve you with a smile. And Be'ezrat Hashem, during those moments, midah keneged midah, just like I went above and beyond myself, just like I didn't look at the circumstances in front of me, and I understand that this is a test. I am here to go beyond myself and extend myself so that I can enable myself to become godly. And that doesn't come so easily. But Hashem says, you're a work in progress. We're all here in Emunah boot camp. We're all here in training. We're all here getting ready we're oiling up our Uzi, and we're putting in the ammunition, and we're ready. We're ready. We understand. The neshama knows. We're in a tkufa that's described by Chazaq, Shabbat v'yinafash. We're in a tkufa right now where every single one of us, layer by layer, nisayon by nisayon, we're giving more layers to our neshama. Why do we get this amazing neshama just before Shabbat? Because in order to retain the immense holiness and the great light, Shebe'ezrat Hashem comes eventually. Thank you so much. I have water, I have tea. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. In order to be able to receive that immense light, you have to have a vessel. Hashem has to refine the vessel, and He has to scrape it a little bit, and He has to, smooth out the surfaces, and He has to make sure that it's empty of all gook and garbage and dirt and all kinds of stuff that we're hiding in there because it hasn't been cleaned out for a while. So Hashem is bringing us to the point where we are slowly enabling ourselves to get ready for that great light. What happens before Shabbat? Everyone runs around like a madman. Do you have the lights on, honey? Shower, honey, I told you to get in the shower already. And is the plata on? And oh my gosh, the light in the refrigerator. And you're running around. Do we see that happening in today's world? We're all running around. What are we running after? Because we sense that the world is about to have this immense meeting with divine light. And we feel it. And that's why we're not satisfied. We go out and we buy something. Well, maybe I should have bought that. And we went out and we buy this color. Maybe I should have bought that color. And we're constantly unsure. Nothing is satisfactory to us. We're always looking for something more. We're hungry. We're hungry. We're starving. When? When will I have that menuchas hanefesh? When will I be able to have that moment of peace and quiet? And just as we have it, it's taken away. Because Hashem says, you're preparing yourself for something. And the more you prepare, the greater you will be enabled to receive that gorgeous gift I so badly want to give to you. And so that is what is going on, sort of on the spiritual realm. And why is it so important for us to grab onto our emuna? Because the Maggid of Mezrich, Zatzal, the foremost Talmud of the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh, teaches that at the end of days, in order to stay put, in order to be attached to Hashem and not be, falling apart and feeling like all life is being crushed down on us, everything's tumbling down on us, the Maggid says, be prepared. I'm just telling you now. Like the Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says, oi to whoever's going to be in this world at the end of days, and oi to all that's going to be here in the end of days. In other words, there's going to be an oi, oh my goodness, and there's going to be a wow, I can't wait for it to come. We all feel that. And why? Because the Maggid says that at the end of days, it's going to feel as though we're climbing up a freshly painted wall with nice, coloring on, not matte, glossy finish, and we have no nails to climb up that slippery, sliding, wall, to make our way up to the top. It's going to feel like every time I try to reach higher, I'm somehow let down. And that is how it's going to appear. And the Maggid says, don't worry. It's okay. You're supposed to feel that way. But hold on to Hashem. And let's see how come it's so important. Where does the emuna come in? That we're grasping onto the Emet. What does that mean for us in terms of our emuna? Let's look at the word Emet. Emet is designed and is composed of Aleph and Met. What does that mean? Every time we go through trying to grasp another piece of the Emet, try to hold on to Hashem, and we feel there's nothing there. I'm trying, Hashem. I'm davening. I took upon myself so many things. I've gone to so many courses. I've really tried to refine my midot. I'm trying to see the good in my husband, searching left, high, and low, and I can't find it. What do? I feel like this is a battle that I can't win. So Hashem says, you know why you're meeting Met? From the word Emet, why are you meeting Met? Because you forgot to put the Aleph in front. You forgot about me. You're trying to do this on your own, and you're not reaching any place. You're reaching Mavet, sort of a place of darkness, a place that doesn't have divine light in it. So in order for you to be able to succeed, you have to always remember you need my help. I sent you in this world. I sent you on a mission, but you have to remember to invite me in. You have to remember to call my name and invite me into your tzara, into your difficulty. And when we do, when we put that Aleph back to the Met, to the place where I don't see any hope, there's no way I can cover my $50,000 debt. There's no way I'm going to be able to get through, years and years still of this marriage. There's no way I'm going to be able to uplift my child from where he is, God forbid. Remember to put the Aleph back in. Remember to ask Hashem, because like I said, we're training now. And you know what we're training for? We're training for that moment in the Geulah process, the height, the top of the Mount Everest, that we're climbing and we feel that every time we're climbing, we're unfortunately being dragged down. That moment is going to come, Be'ezrat Hashem Barachamim, when just before that amazing light is going to be revealed to us. We're going to feel like, I just can't do it anymore. Look what's going on. Look at the media. Look how CNN is talking about us. Look at the UN. Look at the president. Look at everyone that's going against us. We have no chance. Whatever was written in the Torah, chas v'shalom, it's going to appear like it's not going to happen. We will be in a place of Met without the Aleph. And the Maggid says at that moment, don't forget. Don't forget to remember all those years of training when you were complaining in your kitchen, when you were feeling alone, when you were feeling abandoned, when you were feeling that I wasn't there for you. Remember at that moment of the Geulah process that you were just a work in training. You were just training for this moment. To remember and to recall all the track record, the amazing track record that Hashem Yitbarach has. Let's look back in history. It doesn't make sense that we're sitting here today. It doesn't make sense that we're sitting here today and we're in existence. It goes and defies logic. And Hashem says, I don't want you to forget that. I don't want, because there's going to come a time, God willing it won't, God willing only the good prophecies are going to come through. But if God forbid it happens as written in many variations of the Zohar, God forbid the Geulah comes in the process of what they're, defining to be not such a nice process. We have to know that we have to maintain emuna. And it doesn't matter what you hear from the media, and it doesn't matter how horrible it appears. The message is, remember, I will not forsaken my people. I love you. I sent you into exile. I'm with you in exile. And every time you bring me into the exile, I'm able to literally smash apart the klipot. I'm able to crush all the evilness. I'm able to help you get over all the devastations. But don't forget to let me in. And so every time you feel like you're going through your own mini exile, remember that you're a work in training, that Hashem is here to eventually strengthen our emuna muscles so that we will be able to fight the greatest battle of all, when we finally have to get rid of Amalek. And that's what this month is about. The month of Adar is about getting rid of Amalek. Amalek is that doubt. It's that spark of, well, maybe it's not going to happen. Maybe the Geulah won't happen. Maybe, Edom is our friend. Maybe, we should feel safe and sound here and it's the safest place on earth. Maybe we need to be staying in here. Who says that Eretz Yisrael is the best place for us? Who says? It's that spark of doubt. It's the possibility that there's more than one possibility. That Hashem is Echad, Yechid, and Miyuchad. There's maybe a little doubt that creeps into my mind. There's maybe some logic going in there. There's maybe some conservative skepticism, sometimes even logical skepticism. And Amalek is there to pour that cold water on us and get us to not believe, not to remember the Emet. When did Amalek come? When was the first time we met Amalek? Yetziat Mitzrayim. We came out of Yetziat Mitzrayim and we were like, hey, I'm from the big gang. I'm from the elite. I belong to Am Yisrael. Did you see what my God just did back there? Woo, he just knocked them out. We're on the winning team. We got out of Mitzrayim and no one got out of Mitzrayim. We beat all odds. We were feeling high in the sky. We were feeling like, wow, we are the chosen people. And Amalek came and says, oh, you're feeling inspired? You're feeling motivated. You feel like you're some, you got a God behind you. Well, guess what? I'm here to shake you up. I'm here to sort of create a doubt in your mind that everything that happened back there could have been a lot of things. I could prove it in a lab. I could prove it in science. If you Google today the 10 plagues, they have all these crazy different variations of why the 10 plagues came about. They'll come up with all these scientific reasons why there were frogs and red water and why this one died, the firstborn. They'll come up with every possibility just to put that doubt in your mind. And so we have to stay with one, the Aleph in the Emet. If we remember the oneness, if we remember that there's only one, and everything comes from that oneness, and Rabbi Nachman says, everything is good. Everything is good. You mean what I'm going through is good? How? Well, it's either hidden good or it's revealed good. But it's all good. So what is my job when it's hidden? Our job when it's hidden, we're That's where the preface, that's the beginning initial stages before Mashiach comes. In order for us to be able to appreciate the immense beauty and light, we have to do a lot of running around. We have to do a lot of finding. We have to do a lot of searching. We have to exert a lot of effort, just like before Shabbat. Take into consideration what happens before Shabbat. The long lines at the supermarket, standing online, right? Having to prepare. Do I make challah or should I buy it? You know, all these different thoughts go through our mind. That is what's going on now on a very global, cosmic way. And you see what's going on. Hashem is preparing us. All these sudden tragedies. Suddenly it comes out from nowhere. Suddenly your neighbor comes to you and says, I was at the doctor yesterday. I just got diagnosed, God forbid. Suddenly, all these sudden tragedies coming out. And Chovot HaLevavot comes down and brings down and says, you know what the message is when sudden tragedies come to and create sorrow in Am Yisrael? Do you know what the Chovot HaLevavot brings down? What are we supposed to think? We're supposed to internalize the message that we're taking life too much for granted. We're feeling just a little bit too comfortable in our galut. We're feeling just a little bit like yesterday was quiet, tomorrow will be quiet. Yesterday I got up, today I'll get up. Yesterday I saw, today I'll see. And we take life as this sort of routine. We've gotten accustomed to this sort of routine. And Hashem says, no, you're not talking to me enough. You're not reaching out to me enough. You're forgetting. And so this suddenness is a jolt out of nowhere. It's a wake-up call. Because once you're used to something happening and suddenly you get a jolt, you think to yourself, oh my gosh, where did this come from? The suddenness of it gets you to wake up. Because if you're slowly prepared, then again the mind starts to work on logic. Well, sure, that person got lung cancer. He smokes like a chimney. You know, we start to think things. But that's not the way Hashem wants us to think. Hashem, if a person was meant to, God forbid, get something or go through something, we're not here to come up with the logical reasons why the person lost her house. Oh, of course she lost her house. Did you see how much money she used to spend? She used to go into the supermarket and fill her carriage up to here. Of course she has no more money. No, Hashem says, no, I'm going to give you the character that's going to be a spending character in order for people to assume on logical basis that because of that you lost your money. But really, in reality, you were meant to lose your money. You were meant to lose your money. And so Hashem gave you that character in order to create the circumstances for you to be able to lose the money. It's not the opposite. The opposite is totally anti-emuna. And so Hashem wants us to put things in proper perspective and know that He is running the show. He is running the show. He is bringing every single one of us, and then some, to Geulah. And it can happen in one of two paths. It's going to happen either through bitterness, the crushing of the olive, to take out that beautiful first press of olive oil to light a magnificent light. Or, God forbid, that's the God forbid, or through Torah, by capturing the Emet. By capturing the essence of Torah, by listening to the Rebbeim and what they ask of us to do. Emunat Chachamim today is almost just as important, if not more important, than any other generation. Today we need to listen to what the Rebbeim are telling us to do. If they're telling us we need to increase our tznius, we need to increase our tznius. If they're saying to us we need to daven more, we need to daven more. Whatever they're telling us, they have the foresight. They've been given the gift of emuna, pshuta, in a way that we have to work years to achieve. They have the foresight. They have the understanding. And if they're telling us that a little bit extra of a centimeter on our sleeve is what makes a difference, then by golly gee, I'll do it. I'll do it. Why, how, logic, doesn't matter. I do it because I need to know that I am doing whatever I possibly can to capture the holiness of Hashem's presence. Because today, there's a huge veil separating us from Hashem. And so those of us, Be'ezrat Hashem, who are able to live with emuna, we're the ones that poke holes in this great veil. We're the ones that poke these holes and allow for the godly light to come down and be able to experience Hashem. And that's why you have people walking around with such difficulties. And they have such emuna. Why? Where do they get it from? It comes from the ability of them to, again, go above and beyond themselves, to poke that hole and say, I know there's someone hiding up there. I know there's something else going on over there. I want to see it. I'm ready to go ahead and go above and beyond myself to capture the essence and be able to have that light shine on me, shine on my brain, shine in my mind so that I can feel Hashem's presence. And so essentially the question today that we need to ask ourselves, Be'ezrat Hashem, is how much do I really desire to live in Hashem's presence? Because Hashem is available. He makes himself available to every single one of us. But how much do I really want his presence in my life? So let's talk a little bit about Mashiach, because that's really, that answer to that question will answer the essential part of the question of, do I really want Mashiach? Because who is Mashiach? Mashiach is a representative of Hashem's divine light. And when Mashiach comes, all of my essence is going to be revealed. Through the chush of reach, through the essence of smell, Mashiach will be able to come close to every single one of us and will be able to determine our righteous level. And it's written in the Zohar that so many of us are going to be running to the closest caves available. We're going to run from him. Wait a minute, I've been davening for him. I'm davening for Mashiach. What do you mean I'm going to run away from him? We're going to be running away from him. Because everyone's going to suddenly know me. Everyone's suddenly going to know who I am. They're going to know what I'm thinking when I look at them. They're going to know how I'm feeling. They're going to know if I have jealousy. Because only when Mashiach ben David comes, free will be taken away. When Mashiach ben Yosef comes, we still have free will. And that's why there's a milchama. That the sources bring down that there's going to be a war against Mashiach ben Yosef, and depending on where we are in our lives, he may even, God forbid, fall in battle. It depends on where we are in our lives. But during Mashiach ben Yosef, which is preparing so to speak, the stage, preparing the groundwork for Mashiach ben David, Be'ezrat Hashem, to be revealed, there's going to be free will. And so some of us won't be too happy. Because think about it. Mashiach is Melech Mashiach. He's a king. When a king comes and he rules over his nation, over his people, he doesn't ask whether or not you feel like dressing a certain way or davening a certain tefillah or acting in a certain way. He's not going to ask the men whether they feel like getting up for shacharit. He's a melech. And the Melech commands, and you've got to adhere to the Melech's rules. And so when we ask for Mashiach, we have to know that we have to be prepared. Mashiach coming is sort of that Shabbos. It's the preparation now. Hashem is giving us this tremendous ability now. Every second that we live right now, we have this tremendous ability to prepare ourselves, to confront our own Emet. Our own truthfulness. Am I ready to experience really who I am? And Hashem's giving us the opportunity. And so he's giving us the husband that's quite annoying. And he's giving us a child who pushes my buttons. And why? So I can discover who I really am. And I can get to know the godliness that I have. And so that when Mashiach comes, the transition, and boy will it be a transition. We're not going to be going out to ShopRite to buy food to feed ourselves. We're going to be eating off divrei Torah. Can you imagine the tremendous spiritual transition we're going to be going through when Mashiach comes? It's not going to be life as usual. And so we have to understand we're going through a transition now as we speak. And so instead of complaining, you don't complain when you're in boot camp because you realize it's a training program. They're here to get out the best in me. They're like a coach. You don't go to run to your coach when you want to hug. You go to your mother. You go to your coach when you want to go and you want to reach the Olympic medal. And you want that coach to wake you up at 3 in the morning and say, Are you out of bed? Let's go. 5 laps around the block right now. And you're like, come on, coach. I've just had a really... I said right now, get out 5 minutes, you're out. And it's minus 30 degrees and you're running around with shorts around the block. Because he's bringing you the Olympic medals. And so you want that. You go to him. You want that essence of fighting. You want him to take out that fighting spirit inside of you. And that's what Hashem is doing. Hashem is that ultimate coach, trying to get us to reveal the greatness that we don't even know exists. And once we're able to do that, you're going to look back and say, wow, that was me. I mean, I actually served my husband coffee after he really annoyed me, and I actually did it with a smile. And you know what? Not only did I do it, I actually felt like doing it. I was ready to serve him even a cookie with it. Wow, big deal. That's the godliness. Hashem says, I want you to relish in I want you to celebrate that moment. I want you to see how godly you can be. How unconditional love, you could take that unconditional love and you can live it. You can extend yourself. You don't have to be refined and constricted by your body and animalistic and impulsive needs. You can really be a godly you. I know, because I made you. And I know, because I'm pumping life into you. Neshima, neshama. Every moment we breathe. Every moment we breathe, we're being, our umbilical cord, that every single one of us, we're all attached to the heavenly realms, that umbilical cord is being pumped with life every moment. Mechadesh betuvo, tamid maaseh bereshit. How can that be? I mean, yesterday's not like today, and today's not like tomorrow. No. Just try 1 second to hold your breath. And you meet the essence of not being pumped by Hashem's godliness. And yet we go on day in, day out. Day in, day in, day in, day out. I'll recall a story, and my sister actually appreciates very much now that she's, throughout the past few days, I repeated the story a few times. I have, the diagnosis of MS. I have multiple sclerosis. It was diagnosed about 10 years ago. And in the beginning, when I was diagnosed, I don't speak much about it. Thank God. I feel like my husband always says, I'm a chef by profession. My husband always says, God gave you MS so that you can write the daily dose of emuna. So Chazdei Shemayim, today I can actually get to a point where I can actually say thank you, Hashem, for giving me this illness, because it teaches me how to live with Hashem. It teaches me to understand, and soon by the story you'll understand what I mean. How come I'm able to even say thank you for such a chronic illness that al pi teva, there is no cure. It just has this progressive pattern to it. But Hashem has a plan. I just don't know what it is. That's my motto. So in the beginning, when I was diagnosed, we were just in our relatively early stages of coming back to tshuva. And I remember one day my husband at the time we were living in Muncie, and had an amazing Rav. His name is Rav Bachrach, may he live and be well, at Or Yisrael in Muncie. Beautiful tzaddik of a neshama. And my husband was getting stronger and stronger and learning in the yeshiva. Many, many baalei tshuva, and really, mamash neshamas kadoshos are coming out from this beautiful yeshiva. And he asked my husband very nonchalantly, so how are you doing? And my husband says, Baruch Hashem, I'm doing good. And how's your wife? And so my husband very innocently says to him, you know how it is, the Rav. She has MS. We don't know what happens with her. It's such an unpredictable disease. One day this, one day that. One day she's feeling good, the next day she's not. One day she's walking, the next day she can't. You never know. And so the Rav looks at him, these beady, kadosh eyes, and he says to him, you go home and you tell your wife that she's living the truthful reality, because she doesn't know what's going to happen with her tomorrow. She doesn't know. Just because she got up yesterday from the bed, she doesn't know how she's going to wake up in the morning. We live the lie, he says to my husband. We think that yesterday I felt good, so tomorrow I'm going to wake up and I'm going to feel good. And so essentially that brings us back to the whole concept of the Nachash. The Nachash, he got a curse. What was his curse? Everywhere you go and you crawl, you'll find food. And so we think to ourselves, hey, I wouldn't mind that kind of a curse. I mean, everywhere I go, I'll find food. I don't have to worry about finding parnasa. I don't have to worry about working for anything. I'll find it. It'll be readily available. What a blessing. We ask that. We think today it's a blessing. And essentially, it's a curse, so to speak. Not that I'm saying it's a curse to be healthy, God forbid. But there's a distance that's created, a gap between us and Hashem, when essentially we have this everyday, day in, day out life, where yesterday I got up for work, today I get up for work. Yesterday I had, I was able to see, today I can see, and so on and so forth. Nothing should be taken for granted. Absolutely nothing needs to be taken for granted. The goodness that we have been experiencing till now shouldn't also be taken for granted, Baruch Hashem. But on the other hand, we have to understand that we live in a very unpredictable world, and that's great, because Hashem says, I don't want you to feel comfortable in Galut. I don't want you to feel like you're in a comfortable place and that your home is in a perfect setting. I don't want that for you. I want you to feel uncomfortable so that you'll ask to get out. Because if you're uncomfortable, if you see things are perfectly in order, you're going to feel comfortable enough and you're going to forget that you're in Galut. And I don't want you to feel that way. I want you to beg. I want you to say the words, Ad Matai. But I want you to also know what you're saying. I want you to know what you're asking for. When you're asking for the revelation of Hashem's glory in its full force, no filterizations. You don't need sunglasses now to see the light. You can see it in its full beauty and won't get harmed by it. When you're asking for it, know that you have to prepare yourself for that beautiful place. You have to know that it's a work in progress, and it doesn't just come out of nowhere. It requires work and requires a refinement of midot, of emuna, of developing emuna. And that's what this is all about. That's what everyone's going through. That's what we're all sharing in our own little way. We're all going through a specific, divinely planned, precise emuna program. Hashem gave me the husband that I need. He pushes my buttons. Perfect. It's perfect program. Push on button number A to see your wife scream. Push on button number B to see her say, what was I thinking when I married you? Push on button number C when she says, again, you're complaining about my food. I didn't put salt in this time. I really didn't oversalt it this time. Perfect. Because I want to see how you're going to respond. Are you going to see me? Do you see me? Or do you see the circumstance? And stop there. If you stop there, then we live in a finite existence. If we go beyond what we're seeing, we're attaching ourselves to infinity. We're attaching ourselves to the divine essence, and that's what Hashem wants. Hashem doesn't want us to gain our strength and gain our security by the money we have in the bank and by what we see coming out of the media. He doesn't want the Jewish people to feel comfortable when we have a president that loves us. He wants us to always understand that we're in Galut. And when there's a halacha that Esav, Soneh, Yaakov, it means that our neighbor, John and Mary, the wonderful neighbor across the street, who I say happy holidays to, who I say what a great tree you have out there, it looks gorgeous, because I'm nice, I'm courteous. We live in a world where we have to be nice and courteous. Everyone's a creature of Hashem. But we need to understand and have in the back of our minds that John and that Mary essentially doesn't like me being here. They don't like my existence. They have a problem with my essence. They have a problem with my existence. And so Hashem is slowly getting us to kind of acknowledge that and get us to understand that we have no one to rely on but Him. And the more we get closer to Geulah, and we're there, we're very much there, Be'ezrat Hashem Barachamim. And the closer we get to Geulah, the more uncomfortable we're going to feel where we are. And you can live in Galut also in Eretz Yisrael. If you're not attached to Hashem, you can also be in Galus. And we are in Galus. We're in Galus everywhere. Until, Melech Mashiach doesn't come and put this world right on the proper place, we are essentially experiencing Galut. Although Galut there is certainly a less dose of Galut in Eretz Yisrael. You have ways of attaching yourself. You just put your hands on the kotel, take a 20-minute ride to the kotel from Bet Shemesh, and you're back in Geulah mode. You're back in Gan Eden. But no matter what, we have to work hard. We have to work very, very hard, because this whole world screams anti-emuna. The media, the immorality messages that are coming out there, it all screams anti-emuna. All anti-emuna. I'll open up for a little bit of questions. I need a little tea break, and then I can continue on. Anybody have any questions?
You mentioned about Mashiach coming, then Yosef, and then David. Just a little confused about that.
So we have two Mashiachim, Be'ezrat Hashem, that are meant to come and bring about the ultimate redemption, Be'ezrat Hashem. Mashiach ben Yosef, with everything. Those who know don't say, those who say don't know. We don't know. There are many Pirushim, there are many insights, there are many possibilities, but we really don't know how the Geulah is going to play out, because it all depends on us. In fact, if tomorrow Rav can get out and say, that's it, we're done, this is the Geulah has to come from this way, and then one Jew in Alaska decides to tip the whole scale and bring merit to the whole Jewish nation, and suddenly it disappears. So it could be at that moment that we're hearing these prophecies coming out, that it is true for that moment at 8:59 or whatever the time is at this moment. It could be that this is the way the Geulah right now, for what's to happen, this is how it would happen. But in 1 second it can change. And so there are many Perushim of what Mashiach ben Yosef's job is and what Mashiach ben David's job is. But essentially Mashiach ben Yosef is here as a preparatory stage. It's to get us to get used to the idea of Mashiach living. It's to get us to suddenly come back more to tshuva, to get to tip the scales a little bit more into the spiritual way of living and thinking. That is essentially the job of Mashiach. And depending on how prepared we would have been before his arrival on scene, then we'll understand how long that gufa will last and how difficult it'll be, God forbid. But again, it depends on us. If we're good children, and we're good students, and we've learned emuna, and we've done our job, and we've prepared, and the hot plate is on the fire, it's connected already, and the light is turned off in the refrigerator, and I'm ready for Shabbos, taking shower, ready in my clothes. When is it coming? I'm ready to receive you, Hashem. Then there's going to be a little bit less work for Mashiach ben Yosef to do to clean up this, clean up the area.
But I heard there's no tshuva when Mashiach comes. That's it.
Mashiach ben David.
Oh.
There's going. No. This is, according to the Zohar, this is what it brings down. That only when Tchiyat HaMeitim, the shlav, the stage of Tchiyat HaMeitim comes, that's when essentially no more free will. Up until there's Kibbutz Galiyot, right? There's Kibbutz Galiyot, there's Gog uMagog. All those things have to happen, and only when, yeah?
So Mother God comes before all the wars?
Yes, now let's talk about Gog uMagog, because we say the word and we get all very frightened. Let's understand, Gog uMagog is a war that Hashem fights against those who oppressed us. We should be waiting for Gog uMagog to happen.
Isn't it happening now?
Hashem is preparing the stage, but it hasn't. We've entered the beginning of it, but it's not. I mean, when you read the definition of what Gog uMagog war is, it's 2/3 of the world not here anymore. That has not happened. Thank God.
It started with World War II.
It's, again, we're in advanced stages, but we're not in Gog uMagog. We're certainly not at the pinnacle of it. But how do we know? And what is another sign? Mashiach's not here. Gog uMagog is supposed to be while Mashiach is here, and it's not. He's not here.
Doesn't it happen before?
So again, there are different variations and different, again, those who know don't say. There are possibilities. There's insights. There's ideas, but nobody really knows. I can't, say for sure what's going to happen. I would be a fool to say it. We don't know. There are possibilities. One of the most acceptable commentaries and possibilities is that Mashiach ben Yosef comes, and then we go ahead and go into Gog uMagog, and his job is to fight every tyrant, every evil leader that caused oppression to Jewish people. So we should be standing there on the sidelines with our pom-pom saying, you go Mashiach, you go Mashiach, you go and fight the Mashiach, go and avenge our blood, Mashiach. I mean, we should not. We're not supposed to be part of that whole war. We're on the sidelines. It's supposed to be the time of our lives that finally the blood of Jews are not cheap. And it has to be avenged. And Hashem wants to show His immense love. And He wants to show that He was there with us. What we believed in, what we knew to be true through the Torah is now we're seeing in reality. That's essentially the shlav. So we should, again, depending on where we are in our emuna, it's scary. I didn't say it's going to be a beautiful sight. But we have to know that this is what we keep saying, Ad Matai, come on Hashem, how long are they going to reign, these evildoers? How much more blood do we have to pay? Right? Yes, you want to ask?
Yeah, how do we know that, I forgot it already.
Okay.
You gotta go over, thank you.
No, Baruch Hashem, we all have our moments, our senior moments. Okay.
I'll ask you another thing.
Yeah.
How do we know what to ask Hashem that's not taking away from, our bank account? Because we don't want to take away from our bank account.
Right, beautiful. Well, the only thing that takes away really from our bank account are asking for miracles. We don't ask for miracles. We ask for emuna. That's all we should be asking for right now in time.
In general, you can ask for anything as long as unless you're not telling Hashem, you do it this way, this way.
Oh, you want to ask for parnasa? In other words, you're not taking away from your zchuyot, and I'll tell you why. The way to ask for what you need, I need shlom bayit, I need parnasa, I need help with my children, is you always lift it back up to Hashem. I need parnasa so I could be mefarnes you, Hashem. So I could serve you, be yeshuva dat, and sit there and learn Torah and not be troubled about how I'm paying next week's, bills. Okay. So it's lifting it up. Akol leman avodatecha. It's also I can serve you. I want to have Hashem. I want the honey to drip from my children's lips when they go and they learn Torah. I want them to taste what I feel, what I know, what avotenu imotenu kedoshim, what they fought for. I want them to... like that, mamash, like to bring your whole essence into your tefillah.
But leaving it up to Hashem to decide what direction He's going to take it to, basically.
Right.
That's okay. I remember.
That's why you say, Ta'aneh lekol mishalot libenu letova. Answer all of our prayers for the best. For what you know is best.
What about you should ask for shalom?
Shalom? Shalom is shlemut. Shalom is achdut. Shalom is everything. That's the kli that captures Hashem's essence. It says the Shekhinah doesn't reside and doesn't dwell in any place that there's no shalom. So of course, that's the number one thing we have to ask for. Shalom in our houses, within ourselves.
But is it safer to be in Eretz Israel so that then the Geulah...
No, not even a question. I know I'm going to have some people go, not even a question. I'm sorry. I know that it poses some rebbeim. I'm here to say that Rav Kanievsky is telling everyone to come back. He is telling everyone to come back. And I'll tell you what, I don't have to convince you all, right? Because if something happens tomorrow, God forbid, to the oivim, but if something happens here on this land that we're standing on right now, I guarantee not one of you will be buying a plane ticket on Swiss Air or Alitalia. You'll be buying an El Al ticket one way to Israel. And that's how come I can just answer the question right there. For sure, everyone knows inside their soul, there's no place like home. There's no place like home. The essence of Eretz Yisrael is a protective shield against everything. And let me tell you, if there's a decree for problems with children, it'll happen whether you're here or there. If there's a decree for parnasa problems, it'll happen here or there. If there's a decree to go through Yisurim, it'll happen here or there. It'll be painted and encapsulated in an Israel problem reason sourced in Israel because I moved. I never had this problem when I was in America. So Hashem would have given something else. What do you think, Hashem is going to punish someone for moving to Eretz Yisrael? Does that make sense? Does that even go, it goes against the grain of emuna. It goes against the grain of Torah. Hashem is going to punish someone because they decided to come home and be with Hashem in His land? I'm sorry. Again, everyone has their opinion. I have to say mine. I totally disagree with that.
I remember this part already. What about the Arab, and remember, we're going to be losing two-fifths, like Mitzrayim.
Right. Well, they said, some say Chumash is 20%, some say it was actually, there's different.
It's all part of the bad guys we have to get.
Yeah, and you know what? We're going to be we're going to be laughing hysterically, not only because of the Gilui, but because we're going to look at our neighbor, and we're going to see, that neighbor that didn't have shtreimel and didn't have a kippah, what a tzaddik. What a tzaddik. He had such stirrings of his heart. He was connected to the truth. And yet the other neighbor, who appeared to look so from on the outside, was who knows what. Everything's upside down. Don't we understand? That's why you can't judge a book by its cover in today's world. We don't know who's real and who's not. And that's why emunat chachamim is the most important. Get out of Amalek. How? Point yourself a Rav. And just like you would look for a doctor through leaps and bounds, if God forbid you needed a good doctor, look for the proper Rav. Listen to the Rebbeim. They're the doctors of our soul. No less important than taking care of our body, if not more so. Look and see. Get the advice from those that have the foresight. Those who have the foresight, those who can see beyond. We're the mashal of us compared to the Rebbeim, we're like a little ant. An ant is crawling, and because of its tiny essence, when it meets a granule of earth, of dirt, it looks like a huge mountain. It looks like a huge mountain. It depends on what your height is and what you're looking at, right? And so it's trying very hard and it's focusing, just get that piece of, earth out of my way. I can't move forward. Move it, move it, move it. It's trying to move it. Little does it know what it wants to reach even with moving it. And little does it know that 5 feet away is this beautiful tree, high. And little does it know that 100 feet from it is this gorgeous forest. A whole new world. It's so busy focusing on that little granule of dirt that it doesn't see beyond. That's the difference between us and the emunat chachamim and the chachamim of our generation. The chachamim are able to see what's beyond our world, what's awaiting for us. The reward, it's written in Sefer Yeshaya. The Navi Yeshaya says, no eye has ever been given the privilege of seeing what Hashem will do for those who wait for Him. We have no idea what we're doing in this world, how many lives we're touching, how many holes we're poking in that tremendous veil that's stopping godly light from coming into this world. We have no idea how much emuna we're pumping into this world, even when we're in the 4 corners of our own home. When I decide not to embark on my animalistic desire to scream back, Kol ha'olam omed el al blima achad. One time I didn't want to scream. I said, I'm not going to scream back. Not going to scream back to my neighbor, to my mother, to my sister, to my whoever, to my husband. I love to pick on the husbands, yes? They're alone. And men, he doesn't hear. That one moment that I decided not to go ahead and allow myself, I just poked an immense hole in that veil. And after 120, they're going to show me someone who lived across the street, and they're going to show me all their zchuyot, and I'm going to be given the right of way. I'm going to be given all the ability to absorb and share in those rewards. Why? Because of the hole that I poked, because of my emuna in my little kitchen. I didn't even do anything special that day. I didn't cook for anybody who just gave birth. I didn't prepare any, significant anything or another. I didn't maybe say extra tehillim today. But I lived a life of emuna. I enabled more godly light to come into this world. And because of that, the neighbor across the street was able to access his godliness. And because of that, he had a moment of stirring of his heart of tshuva. Maybe there is a God. Maybe I should look at my neighbors a little bit. Wow, look at, they light the candles and the coming back from shul. Maybe there's that stirring of their heart, and that is because I worked on myself, because we're arevim zelazeh. What is arevim? Me'uravim. We're mixed one to another. We're in one big crock pot of chillent. And the beans, you take out some beans, you take potatoes, you take some meat. Everything's connected. We're all connected in this chillent pot. And so when I do something, I'm doing something for someone else. And who knows what I'm able to create in the four corners of my home.
I wanted to ask, if you you shared with your husband, obviously you picked the Rav of your husband, is it enough, or do you need to pick a Rebbetzin for yourself?
Generally speaking, we go with the Rav of our husband, but every person needs a mentor. So you should have a friend or a Rebbetzin or someone that you can consult with that's objective, that will be able to help you see the spiritual ends and the meaning and the elevation and the growth that you need.
Constantly?
All the time. All the time. Not move a single, like literally. Literally. I have someone that I'm constantly in contact with. What should I do? How should I do? Huh? Well, there's someone in Eretz Yisrael. But you have to, it has to be someone local and someone accessible. It could be a friend. It could be a friend of yours that's just more elevated than you. It's fine. Not for Posek, not for psikas, but yeah.
I would say you want somebody emistic.
Oh, for sure.
Because I experienced that kind of, and my mentor, I call him a mentor. Even if we don't agree on, say, I'm more,
Right. Again, you don't go to someone like that where it's going to maybe feel comfortable for you, but someone who can talk nicely, but put you in your place.
He knows to do both, and what I like is, okay, he's not as spiritual as I could be.
Right.
But I know one thing, that the emes is in there.
Yeah.
100%.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's very important. You'll know it.
Absolutely. So let's remember the pasuk. El nekamot Hashem, el nekamot Ofia. Hashem is keeping an exact count. And it's written in Sefer, the Navi Yirmiyahu says, Ki lo alman Yisrael, ki et nekama la Hashem. We don't have to do cheshbonot. We don't have to, be thinking to ourselves what's going on. All of these difficulties, all of these tragedies, I want us to understand one thing. There is no way that a terrorist can touch a single Jew. There's no way that any harm could come to any Jew unless we ourselves, within ourselves, did it on a spiritual level. If a Jew is being killed physically by a terrorist, it's because I killed a Jew in my heart. It's because I spiritually gave the koach. What is sitra achra? It means the other side. I took a particle of kedusha and I gave koach. I gave and deposited a piece of kedusha to the other side, and that sitra achra took that vitality, that spark of energy that I gave, and decided to use it for evilness. When I could have used it, when it was deposited with me, I could have used it for holiness. And so when Hashem is doing this, He's opening up our eyes to make us realize, as the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh teaches, a remarkable, insightful lesson for all of us. When you see something, when you experience something, when you feel something, it's a direct reflection of you. If you have a husband who's stingy, it's because you have stinginess in you. If you have a husband who is ingrateful, then you're an ingrate. There's a part and a spark of ingratefulness that you carry with you. He's just a part of you. Don't get angry at him. Don't say it's because of you the children are watching movies. Don't say that. Because there's a part of you that even if you're not watching movies, you want to be watching movies. And he's just showing you what you really want to do. And if you see someone out there doing something that's really irking you, don't go getting angry at that person. Say, thank you, Hashem, for showing me what I need to work on. Because everything is a reflection. The whole world is a school. The whole world is a projector, projecting my internals. And so it's the greatest gift when I meet a challenge. It's the greatest gift because I realize the dirtiness that I have inside of me, and it's okay. I need to work on it. Thank you, Hashem. I don't want to go away. I don't want to leave this world after 120 dirty. I want to be squeaky clean. I want to know that I've done my job. I want to know that I fulfilled my tafkid and that I don't have I haven't left anything behind in this world. I've finished my job. I left my place all clean. I was sleeping in the bedroom. I put the garbage back. I fixed the bed. I put everything back in its place. I didn't leave dirt on the floor. I left your world, Hashem, squeaky clean. I left it beautiful, just the way I received it. When we came in this world, we received a squeaky clean room, squeaky clean neshama, all perfectly designed. Elokai neshama shenatata bi tehorahi. It's pure, it's beautiful, it's holy. It just had something small that I needed to do, and boy, we all went a little bit too far in terms of forgetting what we had to do. It's okay. It's okay, tshuva, thank God, thank you Hashem, He gave us tshuva. We have tshuva, we return, we have desire, we have ratzon. We say, Hashem, I'm sorry I strayed, but you know what? I'm ready to come back. Shuva elai, Hashem says, come back to me. I'm willing to take you, open arms, no questions asked, no special, tests we have to go through. Just want to come back to me. Just want to see the emet. Just put the Aleph in front of met. Just embrace me and come close to me, and I will accept you in open arms. That's what Hashem wants. And if it's not, unfortunately, barachamim, it's going to be chas v'shalom bedinim. But Hashem has to bring this world to Geulah. It's not that you have a choice. We don't have a choice whether we're getting to Geulah or not. It's happening. Are you on the train or are you off the train? Where are you? Where are we? That's all Hashem wants. That's the bchira. Hashem says, the bchira is bacharta b'chaim. Choose it in a way of life. Don't let me bring it b'dinim. I don't want to give the hidden reveal, the hidden good anymore. I'm ready to do the revealed thing. And so I'll end by saying, at the end, the two words that describe the tkufa, the era that Be'ezrat Hashem we're upon, and that Be'ezrat Hashem is happening and unfolding in front of our eyes. And let's remember, we're 5,776 years in the making here. We've got a lot of fixing to do. There's a lot of stuff we have to fix. There's a lot of mess we have to clean up, whether it's from us or whether it's from someone else who left this world and left us a big cosmic hole that we have to now fill. Whatever the case may be, we're all working. I like to describe the tkufa as all the beautiful, the Amorim, and the Tanaim, and the Achronim, and the Rishonim, and Rabbi Shimon, and Rabbi Meir, Zchutam Tagen Aleinu Ve'al Kol Am Yisrael. They did so much of the avoda. They prepared the palace, and they put the diamonds on, and they prepared all the scenery and the landscape, and they planted the roses to blossom this time, and the azaleas to blossom at that time, and they put everything together. And you know what we are? We're the construction cleaning crew. They completed everything. Everything is in its place. We're here. We're the lowly generation, yes. But we're here to beautify the whole landscape. We're picking up the nails and the plywood, and we're throwing it in the dumpster, and we're separating here from there. We're cleaning up the area so that Hashem can see and relish in the tremendous avoda of building Him a place here on earth. That's our job. Don't think that all I did was pick up a little nail today. What's the big deal? Well, someone could have stepped on that nail, and boy, they would have been upset today if they would have stepped on that nail. You just saved them who knows what. You saved them a lot of tsuris. A little splinter can cause a big deal. Cause a big deal. That little splinter is painful, and it brings your consciousness to that one place on the finger of the splinter. And so Hashem says, now your avoda is to clean up the area. Everything's been done. It's all been done. The stage is set. The stage is set. It's ready to happen. Geulah is here. Just a little bit more cleaning, a little bit more tidying up, a little bit more picking up, and that's why we feel like we're lowly. We feel like there's so many kids, God forbid, dwindling off. Well, they have to go and clean up the mess. They have to sweep up. They might get a little dusty and rusty. But know that every single one of them is part of the cleaning crew, and they're all on their way to Geulah. Every single one of us, we're all on the way to Geulah. And Be'ezrat Hashem, we just daven for one thing, Barachamim. Open our eyes, Barachamim. Bring us back to Tshuva, Barachamim. Understand that the Yisurim comes from the word Musar. Every time we go through Yisurim, Chas v'Shalom, it's only a wake-up call to give us a bit of Musar. Because tough love is also love. Even tough love has its place. So maybe we're going through a little tkufa of tough love, but it's still there to essentially express Hashem's divine love and His embrace and how much He yearns for us to come back to Him. He's waiting. So Be'ezrat Hashem, let's embrace Him back. Let's do what we're supposed to do. Be'ezrat Hashem, see everyone in Eretz Yisrael very soon. Barachamim, at least daven for it. You know what? It's not easy to pick up and go, but daven to want to be there, because that's the essence of where we need to be. And Be'ezrat Hashem, we should merit to dance together in the Beth Mikdash, in the women's section, B'me'ah, Barachamim, with our pom-poms and all. Amen.